Hey everyone, Reverend Sarah Grady from St. Paul's United Church in Paris, Ontario. Tuesday, doing a check-in, and as we approach tomorrow, Wednesday, November the 11th in 2020, I obviously have thoughts of Remembrance Days gone by and peace and war on my mind. We explored the chapter in Matthew's Gospel where Jesus encounters a Canaanite woman who is wanting her daughter to be healed. And at first Jesus says, you're not Jewish, so I'm not going to help you. And his disciples all go, yeah, she's not Jewish. Get her away from us. She's trying to bother us. And all of a sudden the woman says to him, hey, I'm human too. My humanity counts just as much as everybody else here. Just because I'm not Jewish, that doesn't mean I'm not worthy. And all of a sudden Jesus is changed in that moment. He realizes, that's true. I was brought into this world for goodness. I was not brought into this world. I was not sent by my Creator, by my parent, to do harm and to do unjust things. I was brought into this world to be the bringer of peace and hope, and that is for everybody, not just for a select few. As we look towards Remembrance Day, we try and think what it's all about. And Remembrance Day is this yearly reminder of all the things that have been fought for, that through the ages people have died in the pursuit of justice and of peace. And that pursuit hasn't always been the right and just path. Sometimes it has been violent and ugly. And we had to kind of think back to our Old Testament stories this past Sunday as well, that often speak of a violent God. And how do we reconcile those images with the different image that we get through Jesus Christ? Well, the answer simply is this: we evolve and we grow, just as the people of ancient times evolved and grew, and Jesus was hoping to bring them into a new era, a new time of peace and prosperity. And it was a very interesting evolution if we look at it. And I think that we are called to do the same, to grow in our faith and our understanding of how we are called to be in God's world. Because the world doesn't look the same as when we were children. The world doesn't look the same as it did 12 years ago, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. I would say our world doesn't even look the same as it did this time last year. This time last year, people were preparing to gather in great mass crowds around cenotaphs and around memorials, and to stand in these crowds shoulder to shoulder and to take poppies off of coats and lay them on wreaths around those memorials and cenotaphs. And we can't do that this year. Our world changes, it seems, daily right now, and we are struggling to catch up. But what are we called to be and do in the midst of all of that change, in all of that evolution? One of the questions for us this week is, who do you think is stronger? A person who can punch a bad guy and scare him away, or a person who can convince a bad person to become good? That's a pretty big and good question for all of us, I would say, this week. The other ones were a little too tricky for me to wrap my mind around. So I want to simply leave you with that one and think, is it better to be physically violent with somebody to get them to change their mind and scare them off and let them know who's boss? Or is it better to sit down and have a conversation and see if hearts and minds can be changed through your own pursuit of peace and justice? I believe that is the mission and ministry that Jesus Christ's life was characterized by. He wasn't a violent person. And we have the one passage where he flips over the tables and yells at everybody. And sure, he wasn't at his best self then, but everybody gets pushed to a breaking point. Even Jesus, we were reminded of our common humanity through Jesus's humanity. As we look towards peace, as we look towards remembering past hurts and wars and the things that have ravaged our world, I pray this week that you can think about the ways that you could pursue peace and justice in even more loving and kind ways than we have. Or perhaps if they've sort of fallen to the wayside, how can you pick those pursuits of justice and peace up again? There are lots of ways that we can be in this world, even creatively, which we are being called to do right now amidst this pandemic. So I wonder what that looks like for you. I ended my sermon time on Sunday with a tribute to one of our fallen members from our congregation, Audrey Baudet. Audrey passed away just a couple of weeks ago, and I know that it's been a huge hole left in this congregation because she was such a wonderful and caring contribution to this community of faith for so many years of her life. And I want to remind folks of the words that were spoken at the end of her service, because her favorite hymn, and one I know is special to lots of communities of faith, and St. Paul's is no exception, the beautiful anthem that Don Bessig and Nancy Price put to words, "Go now in peace." And those words are, "Go now in peace, never be afraid. God will go with you each hour of every day. Go now in faith, steadfast, strong, and true. Know God will guide you in all that you do. Go now in love and show you believe, and reach out to others so all the world can see. God will be with you, watching from above. Go now in peace, in faith, and in love." May it be so this day and in the days ahead, my friends. See you soon.